Okay, so this is kind of where we're at. I'm kind of at a standstill. I just got to get some silicone hoses and such. Anyways, we've got both sides of intercooler piping. All the way up. The radiator's bottom mounts are in there, but top ones I just got to fabricate. These, of course, are NA mounts. The twin turbo ones obviously look different and function a little differently. So I've got to make some mounts for that. All the intake is all there. All the intake piping all the way up, over behind the headlight, over, down, and around. Just kind of mocking stuff up for now, seeing where I've got to do all the hosing. Radiator hoses ready to go back in. Nothing really too far, except for, of course, the turbochargers are in. Let me get a flashlight. There's a flashlight. Alright. So, each of the turbochargers, there's got the O2 sensor in, that's my LC1. Downpipes in, turbo, oil line, all the fittings, manifold. Each turbo took about an hour and a half, which just, you will, unless you've got pretty much the same exact mods I do when it comes to deletes and engine bay modifications, you will not be able to do it in that period of time. It's just, if you can pull the engine, pull the engine. Absolutely the easiest way to do it. And on this side, the manual, of course, outlines their way of doing it. I'm trying to get a good angle here. I really can't get a good angle. Anyways, it's all in there. There's the actuator arm you can kind of see. And then the downpipe's in there too. And the O2 sensor. And it's all connected back up. Anyways, the book outlines swapping the turbos without pulling the engine, of course, which is not the recommended way to do it. But with all the deletes that was on my car, and the fact I wasn't pulling all this stuff apart for the first time, all the exhaust bolts, every bolt had been replaced, or at least if I reused it, it was heavily cleaned and then used anti-seize and everything. So none of the exhaust bolts were difficult to get off for the NA manifolds I stuck on it. On the passenger side, to install the turbocharger, I actually had to drop the oil tree, and the pressure sensor, of course, stick the turbo up into the engine canal there, push it as far forward as I could get it, and tie it up with a bungee cord to where it stays up close to the top as possible and forward as possible, forward to the front of the engine. Then I reinstalled the oil tree, and then, now remember, when I took the turbo, I installed the oil feed line to the turbo onto it. Let me get my flashlight again. The turbo was completely assembled, intake and exhaust side. The oil feed line fitting and the line itself was attached to the turbo. The hard pipe, the elbow that bolts straight to it was. The hard pipe was not, and the front inlet pipe right there was not. So bolted the turbo to the manifold, which was done from the top and the bottom with extensions and fingers that have 6 bends in them. And then once the turbo was bolted on, I ran the oil line around and turned it on. I put the elbow into the block first, and then just tightened it down. And then the downpipe went on very simple on this side. I mean, obviously I have great access to the top bolts here. Proportionately, it doesn't look that much spacious, but let me throw my hand down there and I'll show you. Very easy to just get to each of the bolts. Simple. Oxygen sensor, same thing. Now on the other side, the book outlines removing the brake booster and the master cylinder and removing the steering arm underneath. Okay, I only removed the steering arm. Since mine is an automatic, I don't have a clutch master cylinder right here by the firewall. So I have the room to stick my hand down the side and under for just a few of them. But for the most part, all of it was done underneath the car. So the process for that was I removed the steering arm, attached the oil line and fittings to the turbo, of course, same way I did the other side. I bolted the turbo to the engine. I bolted the oil line to the block. Then, sorry, I'm trying to think of the process while I'm doing this. Oh, the book also outlines removing the wastegate actuators first. That was not necessary. I installed turbos complete with actuators on them. Anyways, after the steering arm's removed, you're able to fit the turbo up in there. Bolt the turbo on, attach the oil line, oil feed line. Put the steering arm back on after I tightened all the bolts down. Same thing. It was a little more difficult to get to the bolts. For the most part, they were all reachable from the bottom. After that was installed and the steering arm was reinstalled, then the feed line, the oil return lines go on easy. They face down to the bottom. They're very simple. Let's see. The hard pipes, I just used a long extension from the front here, and used long extension to with the bolt already in the socket, and attached the hard lines to the front feed lines to the turbochargers. That was simple. Throwing the couplers and the L-bins for the turbo outlet hard pipe to the intercooler, that was all easy. I mean, overall, the complete, from no intercooler piping on the car at all, no intercoolers on the car, no turbos, and having the NA manifolds is probably maybe an 8-hour job completely, with lunch breaks in there. I don't work fast. I'm not trying to get this done tomorrow. So that's kind of where it went. Everything went on pretty smooth. But if you have all the deletes I have, and do the wiring harness the way I've done, you notice, like I said on this side, you notice there's 10 pounds less of junk here. My whole manifold is bare on this side. This engine will run the way it is if I hooked it up. The engine did run the way it was, non-turbo and turbo, the way I hooked it up. That's complete wiring harness in the car. It doesn't have a battery. That's intake piping and water lines off. That engine will technically start up right now. Won't run very well without a MAF hook to the intakes, but that's a complete running wiring harness engine, everything. That's not missing anything. Anyways, so that's kind of where it's at now. My intake pipes obviously have some shoddy workmanship, crappy brackets, but they're there until I can make something a little more purty. I don't have a TIG welder here at the house. I have to go to the shop and make some nice, pretty aluminum brackets. Anyways, so with what I've got, that's all there. So, anyways, the reason I explained that part is the intake pipe is not, the intake piping for the intercooler is not in its stock location. I mean, it's going to be a little off in comparison to a stock TT. So I won't be using like Z1 silicone pipes, which I have over there. I won't be using those. I'm sure if you tried hard enough, you could get them fit in stock location. A lot of the stuff on this car isn't where it's supposed to be. So it's just it's going to be simple for me just to go get some silicone hoses that are formed. SiliconeIntakes.com is actually based here in Colorado Springs, or well, down in Fountain, just south of here. And I got a couple good friends that work there, all DSM guys. So they're gonna make me some silicone hoses for what I've got. For the most part, they're just gonna be straight flexed hoses with some slight bends in them. Nothing as radical or form-fitting as the Z1 ones I've got. The charge pipes from the intake to the inlet of the turbochargers, that's going to be another ball game. Probably gonna do all hard pipe on that too. Just get some mandrel bent piping. It's gonna be kind of interesting because they're not nearly a straight shot. That's why I've kind of got this bend here that I've got that I'm gonna kind of work on getting to that bottom pipe there. So I'm kind of working with what I've got angle wise. For the most part, it's pretty inexpensive piping, nothing super custom except for those silicone hoses, which I'm sure you could probably just use some straight silicone pieces with a 30-degree bend and a couple couplers or something. I don't like having a whole bunch of connections in there. Doesn't look clean, doesn't look good. So that's kind of where we're at now. By the next video, I hope to kind of have it running and give you a rundown on tuning it. This car runs Niztune. For the most part, this is going to be pretty simple. Since this build, I don't know how well I went into it with any of the last videos, but there's a non-turbo engine with turbos. And contrary to the Z community's belief, just bolting turbos on a non-turbo engine does kind of work, just like turbocharging any other non-turbo engine. Now granted, you know, the 300ZX does have a VG30D ETT motor that is designed with turbochargers. That car has boost solenoids, has a lot of other things and solenoids for the vacuum line routing and for the boost cutoff that this car doesn't have. This car is going to be more of a basic turbo setup. Twin turbos on this slightly more complicated engine. Of course, wastegates and recirculation valves or blow-off valves, but it is recirculated. It is a suck-through MAF system. I am using Niztune. It's still going to be a suck-through, not a blow-through MAF, because it is twin turbo. So for the most part, this car doesn't have a whole lot of the emissions and other junk that they come with. So I don't have, you know, boost cutoff solenoids and such to deal with. So the Niztune setup on this is actually the stock in a computer with Niztune on it. And I'm going to be downloading, basically I'm just going to be copying and pasting factory twin turbo fuel, timing maps, and etc. onto the non-turbo computer. Now, if you use a turbo computer, you need to use a turbo engine with boost cutoff solenoids and such. Otherwise, you're going to have some issues with it throwing error codes that they're not there. Those can be deleted in Niztune and such, but it's just simpler to do it that way. Now, like I said, I'm using a non-turbo engine, no boost solenoids. This is a non-turbo plenum. It's it's got turbo pistons and lower end and everything, and lower turbo oil squirters, but it's just basically going to be using the Niztune as almost a standalone system to kind of tune the engine for boost. For the most part, everything's going to work pretty much the same. But yeah, I'll just be copying to start with to get a base run where I can get some boost in the car and get it tuned and get it at least drivable to where I could get it to the dyno. I'll just be loading twin turbo maps directly onto the non-turbo computer and running stock boost on the stock actuators up to the dyno. And there we'll kind of get a couple baseline runs at the stock boost level, and then we'll put in some boost jets and kind of go from there. I'll probably run 15 to 18 pounds the most. They're stock turbos, so 18 pounds is pushing it. So when you start blowing some hot air, if you don't have, especially with stock intercoolers, that's really your bottleneck. So if you're going to go this route, my recommendation is aftermarket turbos and aftermarket intercoolers, aftermarket 2.5-inch intercooler kit, intercooler piping kit, and for the most part, that with a good tune, not just an order offline chip. If they're not tuning your car and burning the chip to your car, then it isn't going to be 100% right. You need to have it actually dyno tuned. And you want to use a good quality dyno. Like a Dynojet works great if you're trying to get just good performance at the peak RPM range and wide open throttle. But if you want real drivability with a tuned car, you really want to get something that's got a good variable load dyno. There's a lot of research out there. Work on it. I personally use Revolution's Performance here in Colorado Springs, a real reputable dyno tuner. There's a couple other. Under Pressure Performance is pretty good. It's a little more lax atmosphere, a little more let's try this, see if it works, hope it doesn't blow up situation. But CK is a great tuner. And then at Revolution's, I mean, you're going to get some good quality work there, but you're going to pay for it. Anyways, So like I said, going to be using just a stock fuel and timing map and so on of a turbo onto this non-turbo computer to get it running and make our tweaks from there. I've got wideband on both banks, not just one. The downpipes both had the bungs on the top. Oh yeah, when you install the downpipe on the driver's side, put the oxygen sensor in first and then install the downpipe. On the passenger side, it doesn't matter. It's easier just to put it in without the oxygen sensor, and since it's open space right here for this vehicle, I'm able to put the oxygen sensor in 2 minutes as long as the battery's out. I'll probably relocate the battery just for the ease of working on it, but it's not even really in the way. So that's kind of where we're at, and hopefully next video I'll have some of the tuning, or at least working out some kinks. I'm sure there to be a few. This is kind of just going. This video, this is taken the day after the last video. Obviously, I take my time uploading them, so I probably won't get this video online for, geez, probably at least a week. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Any questions, send me a message, or I'd rather you do it in the comments section so everyone can see. That way if I answer the questions there, hopefully 20 people won't send me messages. I mean, I appreciate you guys sending me private messages, but it's I'm starting to get a lot of them. It's taking a lot of time to answer back. So anyways, alright guys, have a good one. We'll see you next time. Hopefully you get to listen to it.